Good morning, Spellman. It's Friday, May 8th, 2020, day one. It's Teachers Appreciation Day here at Spellman. On today's show,
Career Day continues with an interview with the class of 2010's Nicholas Mancini.
a faculty member takes control of the kitchen and shares her biscuit recipe.
Miss Capozzi talks with Alex Dasent about coping with his new normal we all find ourselves in.
And Christina Recalde has your weekend weather forecast.
I'm Anna Richardson,
And I'm David Smalls. We're your pilots.
and this is your morning flight.
So, Spellman, y'all ready to take flight? Let's get it.
So, Anna, how are you doing? How are things going on with you?
Pretty good. Excited from the news we heard from Mr. O'Keefe about Senior Week.
Yes, most definitely. And I would like to thank the administration for that as well.
Yeah.
I'm just so happy that, you guys are trying your best to do everything you can to give the seniors with, what we feel like we deserve.
Yeah.
But pretty much everything's been going good with me. Keeping up with my work, still recording for CS1. Everything's going well. So let's start to some news.
Father Luke gets things started with a new flight of faith.
Welcome back to the Flight of Faith. I was so moved by last week's show, in particular the seniors who opened the show just sharing about their experience. It was very moving to me, and I know to many of the teachers. There was a whole email string that we had going of just responding to that beautiful video, and that has stuck with me throughout the week as I've thought about what you've experienced and what you're going through. There's a tradition, an experience that we have as human beings. When something bad is happening in the world, we respond. We know that firsthand here in New York City after September 11th, the way people generously responded with their lives, first responders going down to ground zero. It's no different now, the way people are responding in the midst of this pandemic. I remember as a kid, a group of pop musicians came together, Michael Jackson among them, and they sang the song "We Are the World." And they were raising money for relief for Africa. And we listened to that song for years. It was so great seeing the video, all these pop musicians there together singing and having fun. And it was a great way to raise money for those in need in Africa. Well, during the pandemic now, the same is happening. A group of pop musicians came together on BBC Radio and recorded one of the Foo Fighters songs, Times Like These, which has great lyrics. It's in times like these trying, difficult times, that we learn to love again. That we look at our fellow human beings, our brothers and sisters, and we say, you're worthy of being loved. It's challenging, it's hard, but you're worthy of being loved. It's a great video, you should check it out. All these different pop musicians singing that song, the instrumentation, the vocals are great. I really enjoyed it a lot. Now, it'll come as no surprise to any of you that I'd like to focus on one particular fundraising effort that happened, and that's the Jersey for Jersey fundraiser. Being a guy from the Jersey Shore, this instantly appealed to me. And it had some of my favorite musicians and celebrities, John Bon Jovi, Bruce Springsteen. I used to see these guys around town when I was a kid growing up and look at them mesmerized. People from TV, Stephen Colbert, Danny DeVito. These guys all got together. They recorded videos from home and put it together into a fundraising concert, and it premiered on the internet. And people responded. My mom and my brother gave money to the relief effort. And this went out to medical workers, bus drivers that were driving seniors around, people working at the grocery store, people that needed extra help during these days. These celebrities got together to fundraise for them. I thought it was awesome. And I really enjoyed a lot of the songs. Bon Jovi used crowdsourced lyrics in his song, very much the kind of things that you guys shared last week on last week's show. Not being able to graduate with your friends, not going to prom. He shared these things in the lyrics. It's worth checking out that song. I'd like to focus on one particular performance that was part of that Jersey for Jersey fundraiser. And it was the performance by Charlie Puth. I knew Charlie Puth from his music, the song from Fast and Furious, We Don't Talk Anymore. I like those songs. I've heard them on the radio, but that's the extent to which I knew him. I found out when I saw him on this Jersey for Jersey fundraiser that he grew up in the town down the street from me. I grew up in Red Bank. He grew up in Rumson. In fact, I graduated from Red Bank Regional High School. He graduated 10 years after me from the rival high school, Rumson Fairhaven High School. It's on the same street. Those guys during senior week would come over and try to paint the pirate cannons that are outside of our high school. They would try to paint them their colors. So there's lots of great connections. In fact, you might know my mom's Catholic and my dad's Jewish. Well, Charlie's mom is Jewish and his dad's Catholic. So kind of neat, many connections. He grew up as a kid playing music at Count Basie Theater. I went as a kid and as a young adult, and even now, to concerts at Count Basie Theater. So lots of great connections. And I was really excited that he chose not to record one of his own songs, but to record a Bruce Springsteen song. He chose a wonderful song, Growing Up. But I have to say, I didn't like his performance of it, and this is why. It was too smooth. It was too perfect. There's something about Bruce's voice that's so unfiltered, so un-auto-tuned, so just raw, and even some people would maybe criticize his vocals. But I love it. I love it. And what I love about it is the way that it gets into our hearts and expresses kind of the rawness, the unfilteredness of what comes out of our hearts when we're being real, when we're being authentic, when we're being vulnerable, and we're allowing ourselves to just say, this is what I'm going through. This is what I'm going through. Again, Charlie did a great job. It just drew up for me the reality that when I hear Bruce sing, it taps into something inside of me, and I'm saying, yeah, that's who I am. That's who I really am. I'm going to be honest about it. It's raw. It's unfiltered. Sometimes it's ugly when I cry out of my heart. But as a priest, I would say, it's in those moments when we're real, when we're unfiltered, when we're raw, and our hearts cry out, it's there that God can enter in. That's how my conversion came about. Not growing up, going to church, not knowing God growing up. It was when I had that cry in my heart, why are we here? Where's my life going? What am I supposed to do for the next 60 years of my life? That cry in my heart cracked open my heart and allowed God to come in and transform my life. And gave me this ability, like David Grohl and those other pop musicians sang in times like these, to learn to love again. That's how I learned that. I'll close with this beautiful quote from Leon Bloyd. He said, "Man has places in his heart which do not yet exist, and into them enters suffering in order that they may have existence." What's he saying? That our hearts, when we experience suffering, new places in our hearts are made. They come into existence. And that expands our hearts. Again, it teaches us to love again, and maybe in a new way that we've not been capable of before. Brothers and sisters, this is a time to be unfiltered, to share what's going on in our hearts with God, and allow His love and His care and His presence to enter into these new places of our hearts created by suffering, and make us more and more into the men and women we were created to be. Keep up the good work, persevere to the end, cry out, let love transform your life, and God bless you.
Just a quick reminder to our AP students that your remote exams start on Monday. It may be funny that you hear this from me, but be on time and ready to go. You got this.
A programming note. Next Friday evening at 6 p.m., CS1 will premiere this year's virtual Block S Awards, celebrating the achievements of the sporting community at Spellman.
You can catch it right here on our YouTube channel.
Speaking of which, make sure you subscribe to our page to keep up with all that is happening here at Spellman as we prepare to end our school year. Click on the bell to get notifications.
There's only a week left to send in your tryout video for our position here on CS1 in the fall.
Thanks to those of you who have submitted so far. It's great to see that you want to continue this.
The script samples are on your Chromebook, and you can send your video to video@cardinalspellman.org. Deadline is next Friday, May 15th.
We now continue our Career Month series of interviews with Mr. Nicholas Mancini, class of 2010.
Most of us know Mr. Mancini as the man who runs our cafeteria system, but he has an impressive food service set up outside the school.
He sits down with CS1's Karla Joseph to talk about his time here at Spellman and how he came to his success at such a young age.
Thank you so much for joining us here in the morning flight, Mr. Mancini.
No problem. Thanks for having me.
Okay, so usually we like to ask our alumni guests what has changed since their time here, but I can't imagine much has for you. So if I may ask, what memories stand out for you and your time at Spellman?
I would say, definitely friends. I had a class of about 400, so we were definitely one of the bigger classes that were at Spellman.
Yeah.
And a lot of faculty. There was some faculty there that were just really life-changing for me, very inspirational, very motivating, and they were more of a family. So there was a lot of people there who just really rooted for us and wanted us to be, in good places. So, that was probably the most inspirational moment for me there.
Okay. In addition to running our cafeteria and the cafeterias of a number of schools, you also own several restaurants. Have you always had a desire to be in the restaurant business?
It's kind of the only business I know, actually. I was in school to be a doctor. Actually, I was a pre-med major. Then I was going to medical school at Duke, which I didn't do. But I've worked at the one restaurant I've been working at even when I was a freshman in Spellman. So that's kind of how it got started. So I've been working in restaurants since I was 13. Now we have 5 of them, and we are dealing with 13 Catholic high schools in the Archdiocese. But yes, it's pretty much the only business I know, and I do love it.
So how long did it take you to own your first business?
I owned my first business when I was 18.
Oh, that's pretty impressive.
Yeah. Gemelli's was the first business I had. It's a pizzeria right in North Avenue in New Rochelle.
As a business owner, especially at such a young age, do you feel like you had to make any big sacrifices, and like what type of sacrifices?
Definitely time, family, friends. I mean, money is great, but you can't get time back. So, honestly, big jobs come with big responsibilities. We get to help a lot of people. We have a lot of employees, but you have to self-sacrifice a lot of time. And, you end up looking back. I owned my first business when I was 18. I'm 27 now, and it's a grind every day. Unfortunately, when you are in charge and you are an entrepreneur, you have to really be doing a grind every day. And there's never a minute to say, oh, great, let's put this back now and watch. There's not as many systematic approaches in private business as there are in franchises. So you have to be hands-on all the time as customers want the experience. So definitely time is a sacrifice, I would say.
How did Spellman prepare you to reach success and deal with any setbacks?
Spellman to me is one of the most diverse Catholic high schools, or high schools in general, in the Bronx or probably in New York. And I just think that it prepared me to deal with people of all kinds, and it prepared me to be able to have a conversation with anyone. And I think that it set me up pretty well for the future, and I can speak to anyone, or going into an interview or speak to somebody and just kind of get a judge of character. I think that's really important. So I do think Spellman set us up just to really be able to adapt and deal with all types of people from all walks of life.
So, in addition to being a graduate, you're also a member of the board. As someone who is a recent graduate, can you tell us a little about your contribution in terms of how the school is managed?
Sure. So I chair the Enrollment and Marketing Committee, which is responsible for admissions, especially for freshmen and different groups. So I mainly focus on trying to get, which we did this year, much more financial aid and relief to freshman families that were coming into the school. Unfortunately, due to COVID, it was even more of a dire need this year. But that's the chair that I'm in front of. I also have a vast experience in advancement and fundraising, so I do contribute to that as well. I am the youngest member on the board, so there's definitely is, a lot of the graduates were there in the 70s and 80s, and I graduated in 2010. So I like to say I contribute by closing the gap. We have views from all walks of life there, but yes, enrollment and marketing is my main strength on the board.
Okay. What advice would you give to a Spellman student who's looking for a career in the food service industry?
I would tell them just to maybe take an internship and make sure it's something they really want to do. Because from the outside, even for people who want to buy restaurants, it all sounds great. You need to just make sure it's something you're willing to sacrifice for it to succeed. Just because it's a lot of work. It's definitely a high stress business.
Well, thank you so much for being here with us, Mr. Mancini. It was pretty fun. Thank you.
Yeah, no problem. Thanks for having me.
Thanks, Karla. Great job.
All right, everyone. Pay attention as Miss Harrison sets up her oven in the cooking corner where she shows us how to make her biscuits.
Hello and welcome to my kitchen. After seeing you guys do some recipes, I thought I would do one of my own. One of the things that definitely helps whenever you're cooking or baking is to get everything out and set up beforehand. Just makes things go a lot simpler. So for today I was going to make some biscuits, and some of the items that you're going to need are 3 cups of all-purpose flour, 4 teaspoons of sugar, 1 teaspoon of baking powder, 1/4 teaspoon of baking soda, 1 1/4 teaspoons of salt, and you're going to need approximately 2 cups of heavy cream. What are you going to need to make this is you're going to need a nice big bowl. You're going to want a spatula. You're going to want a 1 cup measuring cup or 1/3 measuring cup. You want your smaller measuring utensils. You're going to want a 2 cup measuring cup. You're going to want a baking dish lined with either parchment paper or you can use Pam spray. So in your dish you have your 3 cups of all-purpose flour. You're going to add your 4 teaspoons of sugar. You're going to add your 1 tablespoon of baking powder. You're going to add your 1/4 teaspoon baking soda. And you're going to add the 1/4 teaspoon of salt. Now make sure you have preheated your oven to 450 degrees, because once you get this all done, you want it right in the oven. The next thing you're going to do is you're going to take your 2 cups of cream, your heavy cream, which contains some buttermilk, and you don't want it cold. So what we're going to do is we're going to put it in the microwave for about 60 to 90 seconds, depending on your microwave. So we get the temperature to about 95 to 100 degrees. While you're waiting for your cream to heat up, you're just going to whisk this all together and just kind of mix until it's thoroughly mixed together. Once you hear your microwave, you want to take that right out of the oven. And you want to take the temperature, and you hope it's at about 95 to 100. So I've taken it back out of the microwave, and let's see what the temperature is now. Okay, I left that in there a little too long. I'm going to let it cool off. I want to keep it at about 95 to 100. So now you're going to take your cream and you're going to pour it in. And you're going to start just kind of mixing it, folding it in. So what you're trying to do is just incorporate all the flour. So the next thing you're going to want to do is take your 1/3 cup measuring cup, and you're going to want to spray a little Pam right inside the cup. So what that little bit of Pam is going to allow, that when you scoop this, you pull it right against the side. That's going to give you a pretty good little scoop. Now you should get probably a good 10 to 11 out of this. And what I'll do is I will finish scooping them and come back. So now you have your biscuits, but they may be a little misshapen. So if you there's enough vegetable oil on here that if you just want to get them into a little bit more of a biscuit shape, you can just rearrange them a little bit more to a biscuit, like some of them came out a little crooked. Maybe pat them down a little in the middle. This guy's a little smaller. Give that to the family member you don't like. All right, so now you're going to put these in the oven for about 10 to 12 minutes, but at the halfway point, I want you to turn the pan around. So you're going to put it in this way, and then about halfway, you're going to spin the pan, and then you're going to kind of keep it near the top, so medium, high in the oven. So in they go, like I said, for about 10 to 12 minutes. We're going to turn it around in 6 minutes. While you're waiting to turn your biscuits, now is a good time to get about 4 to 5 tablespoons of butter, or 3 or 4, depending on what you like. I'm going to do 3, and I'll do 4. And you're going to put this on the stovetop or in your microwave, and you're going to want to melt that. And then the other thing you could do while you're waiting is start doing your dishes so that you're ready to have your biscuits. Okay, so here they are right out of the oven. And what we're going to do now is, while it's hot, because you really don't want to eat them now, is we're going to take a little bit of our melted butter, and if you have a brush or a spoon, what you're going to do is just brush. So hopefully you'll see that the butter is just getting soaked right in. And that's exactly what you want, because you don't want to eat these right now. Now biscuits are always good with butter, and it gives them a nice little sheen. And you're going to want to wait about 5 minutes before you eat these. And then you'll see a great way to enjoy them. And through the magic of television, it is 5 minutes later. And I'm going to just take this biscuit right here because it has a kind of a natural cut in it. And some of the great ways to enjoy this is, I'm going to take a little bit of the butter that I had left over. And I'm going to cover this side. And what I'm going to do on the other side is with jam. This happens to be my friend's mother makes this in Italy. It is apricot jam, homemade, and I'm going to just put a little bit of that on there. You can use whatever you got in the house, raspberry, strawberry, Nutella wouldn't be bad, but hopefully you guys enjoy. This is a really simple little recipe.
We're doing something a little different this week for Dancing with the Pilots. Miss Asen shares some video with her first Period Zero class back in 2016.
Here they are performing the original choreography, I've Been Booked, from Alvin Ailey's Revelation.
We've got a bunch of birthday shoutouts this week. First, wish a happy birthday to Senior Mahalia Hurlington. Next, we have a couple of birthdays in our administration. Miss Mary Worth in the Secretarial Department celebrated her birthday last Sunday. And I have to say a special happy birthday to the man himself, Mr. Colin Smith, who celebrated, according to Mr. Drew, his 60th birthday yesterday. Mr. Drew is very envious of how young you look for your age, being older than him. We at CS1 want to wish you a very happy birthday.
Happy birthday, Mr. Smith. From the bottom of our hearts here at CS1, and for me personally, we couldn't thank you enough for what you've done to the club. You've helped build it to what it is now. I mean, me and David and Haley and Christina and everybody else did most of the work, but you helped too. You did like 5%. We couldn't thank you enough, and it really means a lot that you were there. You were our second best supporter. Miss Harrison is always going to be number one, sorry. But yeah, happy birthday. Have a good one.
Hey, Mr. Smith. I hope you know that once a member of CS1, always a member of CS1, and a CS1 party don't stop. So happy birthday, bottles up, and I promise that once this disaster is over, we will all be laughing together as a family once again. Happy birthday!
Hey there, Mr. Smith. It's your favorite superstar here, David Swills. I would like to wish you a very happy birthday. I would like to thank you for all that you have done for me and CS1, and I appreciate everything you do here at Spellman. And I wish you just enjoy your birthday and you have a great time. Once again, happy birthday, old man.
Happy birthday, Mr. Smith, from your favorite lawyer. I'm in my hallway celebrating with some balloons and a party hat I took out just for you. I want to just thank you for everything you've done for CS1 and helping us get to where we are right now. We wouldn't have done it without you, and we're very, very grateful for you. And hope to see you in the summer when we film a last episode for CS1, hopefully.
Happy birthday! I heard it was your birthday, so you already know we had to play this song on your birthday. But no, really though, once again, happy birthday, and thank you so much. You've done everything for Spellman, especially for CS1. None of this would be possible without you, so happy birthday, Mr. Smith!
Hey, Mr. Smith. Just wanted to say happy birthday to you, old man. You've been like a father figure to me, even though you're not that much older than I am. But I just wanted to wish you well on your very happy day, and when we get back, we'll celebrate. Take care, man.
We're going to take a break, and as we do, we go out with a little celebration of our teachers here at Spellman. As much as everyone says remote learning is difficult for the students, it's just as difficult to conduct remote teaching, and we appreciate all you've done to continue our education in these trying times.
Hi, so to commemorate Teachers Appreciation Day, I just wanted to give a huge thanks to each and every teacher who's going through this with us, because I know that it's been a really, really, really rough time, and it might be a little while until things get back to normal, but I can assure you that from the bottom of my heart, me and pretty much every other student out there really appreciates everything that you've done for us so far and everything that you continue to do for us here and now and in the future. So, with that being said, happy Teachers Appreciation Day.
Happy Teacher Appreciation Day to Mr. D. Palermo. Thank you so much for encouraging me all throughout my sophomore year and being one of the best mentors I could ever ask for. I really hope I can have you as my English teacher my senior year.
I would like to thank all of the teachers at Cardinal Spellman. I'm really grateful for you guys and everything that you do for us in school, outside of school. Even during this time, you guys really pull us together, pull everything together, and made it as comfortable as possible for us. And I'm really grateful for that. I honestly cannot wait until we can go back to school because I miss seeing your faces and just learning so many things that I've learned from my freshman year until now.
The teacher I'm appreciating is Ms. Stefanini, who teaches my chemistry class. She wasn't here in the beginning of the year because she was having a baby, but she came back and I feel like she wasn't even gone and went back to work. And she really loves her job and she really loves each and every student in her class, and she gets to know them and how they learn and what's best for them to learn better in the class. So happy Teachers Appreciation Day.
Happy Teacher Appreciation Day to all the teachers that I've had from freshman year to senior year. You guys have molded me into the young woman that I am today, and I couldn't thank you guys enough. I'm honestly so grateful for all the teachers that I've had, all the moments that I've spent with all my teachers, and you guys hold a special place in my heart. Each of you have contributed to who I am, and without you guys, I honestly don't know where I'd be right now. So, thank you. Wish I could have spent my last Teacher Appreciation Day with you guys, but there's more to come.
Hi, happy Teachers Appreciation Day. I'm Chelsea, and I would like to give a big thank you to all Spellman teachers in advance, because you all come in and do what you have to do every day. You teach me, you teach my friends, regardless of grade level and subject. I would like to give a special shout out to Deacon Malucci, because he is one of those teachers who will stay after with you and explain something until his teeth fall out. and make sure that you understand the point and get it and help you. I would like to give a special little shout out to Mr. Ellis, my bestie. He's my favorite person to bother in this whole entire world. I'd like to give another special shout out to Mr. Cabrera, who I call my old man, because you know he keeps me fit, and I appreciate that. He will not let me sit down. And another special appreciation to Mr. Guerrero, because although this person really does get under my skin, he is a great teacher, and he teaches, like, he explains things very well and goes through the steps with you as much as needed, and he will really stand there for a good 10 minutes to explain some things to my friends, and I really do appreciate that. Thank you.
Happy Teachers Appreciation Day to all the teachers. I want to thank you guys very much for helping further my education at Spellman. I'm really sad to be leaving, going to college next year, but I wouldn't be here without you guys, and I'm very grateful to have teachers just like you in the building doing what you do and helping better the future.
I want to say thank you to all my teachers, because I know it's kind of stressful, like we're not in class anymore, because I know I'm stressed out with the online school sometimes because I just procrastinate a lot, but it is what it is. You guys are doing really good, and I miss classes. I miss Earth Science with Mr. Bassa because that class was just pure jokes, and lacrosse practice and band, and yeah, pretty much I just miss school. Like, it's boring just being in the house all day. But yes, I appreciate you. Thank you for being good teachers. Bye.
A teacher is someone who is there to help and to inspire us to become a better version of ourselves. I just want to say a quick thank you to all the teachers. All the work you guys are doing does not go unnoticed, and you are truly appreciated. So thank you from the bottom of all of our hearts.
Okay. So I just want to give a shout out to Mr. Penzick because he's always there for me and he's just my buddy. So thanks, Mr. Penzick, and we'll miss you dearly.
Thank you so much for all that you do.
Hi, I want to give a shout out to Ms. Gibbons. Thank you for all your hard work and dedication you put towards teaching us. And I just want to let you know that it does not go unseen, and we appreciate you all for it.
I'd like to give a thank you to all the teachers for your hard work during this hard time.
Okay. I would like to give a shout out to Mr. Penzick because he's like one of the nicest teachers ever, and he's really understanding. And he also does TikToks just like me, so... Oh, and he watches Stranger Things. Period.
I just wanted to thank all the teachers out there, especially during a time like this. I know it can be really hard and challenging, but I know you guys will get through anything. So we just wanted to thank all you guys for working so hard, and we know that we will get through anything because we are Spellman. But no, really guys, thank you so much, everything you've done for us, and thank you to all the teachers, especially my teachers that put up with my craziness, so thank you.
I would like to shout out Mr. Castro for Teachers Appreciation Day because, like, when it came to the midterms, like, it was really easy to pass because he taught us good, and yeah, I would like to shout him out for that.
Happy Teachers Appreciation Day. I just want to say thank you to all the wonderful teachers at Karla Spellman. Your students miss you dearly.
Shout out to all the teachers who have been doing their best during this hard time. Even though we're all apart, thank you for continuing to teach with all your heart. You are truly appreciated.
I want to thank you for being a great teacher. And even though our class might not always be the best at times, you always go through. And I hope you and your family are safe.
Happy Teachers Appreciation Day. Shout out to my favorite teacher, Miss Stefanini. Thank you for all that you do. I appreciate everything that you do.
Thank you, teachers, for always having the patience to deal with us. You are greatly appreciated for all that you do. We miss you and love you.
I just want to give a shout out to the teachers at Cardinal Spellman. We appreciate all that you do, especially during these difficult times.
I just want to say thank you to all the teachers out there who have done everything they can to help us learn and grow in Spellman. I know now is a very difficult time for everybody, and you guys are working your hardest, and we're very appreciative of all that you do. and I wanted to give a special shout out to my favorite teacher, Mr. Malabesti. Thank you for dealing with all my silly questions and me just being a ruckus in class. You're an amazing teacher. You taught me more than I've learned in any subject. I may be a little biased since I've always loved math, but you've showed me real beauty in math. Thank you for always guiding me and being there for me when it came to making tough decisions about college. You are an amazing man and keep doing you. Thank you for all you've done.
Happy Teachers Appreciation Day. I know you guys are probably thinking, finally, a day not fully about the students. I would like to thank all of the teachers of Spellman for all of their hard work, dedication, commitment, and eagerness to teach both me and my peers while providing an amazing education. Personally, I would like to thank all of my teachers of this year, Mr. D. Palermo, Ms. Orlinsky, Mr. Schoenberg, Mr. Rosner, who is the future president of my fan club, as he says, Mr. Opper, Mr. Farrell, and Ms. Rosado. You guys are stupendous at your job, and I truly appreciate it. Lastly, I want to thank the administration for everything they are doing for Spellman, especially in these troubling times. Continue doing an amazing job in your respective departments. I appreciate the hard work. Thank you all from the bottom of my heart. Spellman strong.
Welcome back. At this point, we all know we're not going back to Spellman this year. On each year level, there is a certain amount of disappointment, whether it's over prom, ring day, career day, or simply finishing your first year as a freshman, finding your way through Spellman life.
CS1's Alex Dasent sat down with the school social worker, Miss Melissa Capozzi, and they talked about how to cope with such disappointments and how to deal with school life when we finally do go back.
Hello, Ms. Capozzi, and thank you for being here today. How are you?
Hi, good. Thank you. Thank you for having me. I'm really glad to participate in this and connect with Spellman students in this way.
So, I know this is a difficult time for everyone, so how are you doing amidst the current situation?
I'm doing okay. I'm adjusting. I think that feels like a really common word we hear a lot now, just having to adjust and get used to what's going on. But yeah, thank you for asking. How are you doing?
The same way, adjusting, remote learning is a new experience for us, especially the seniors. It's more difficult because, we're missing out on graduation and prom, so that's kind of a bummer, but, trying to find ways to cope, so yeah.
Yeah, no, definitely. There is a lot of loss for a lot of students and especially for seniors. So that's important. The idea of learning to cope, and that's especially important.
Right. So before we dive in, would you mind sharing what it's like being a social worker? I know a couple of seniors who are thinking of having that as their major. So would you shed some light on that?
Yeah, I am a social worker. I'm a clinical social worker, and I think it's a great field to go into. It's a lot about, a large part of my work is connecting with people and listening to their stories and offering support and helping people learn how to manage what's happening in their life. And I think if any student has any of those interests, to definitely look at it as a field to explore.
Right, definitely. So, I know that you're currently at Spellman. Have you worked at other high schools or other places as well, like doctor's offices? What is your typical setting like?
Oh, okay. Yeah. So social workers are in so many settings. There are social workers who are in doctor's offices, in hospitals, in schools. It's pretty vast what a social worker can do. I've only worked in a school setting, and I've been at Spellman for a few years now, and I've loved it. I've really I really enjoy working in a high school setting and working with high school students.
It's been nearly 2 months since we've last been in Spellman, and I know that each grade level is experiencing some sort of disappointment. And we always hear on the news that this is the new normal and we have to adjust. So, what would be your advice to students on how to adjust to this new normal?
Yeah, and you're right. There is, I imagine every grade level is experiencing something different, and especially as seniors, experiencing the loss of your senior year, spring semester. What I would say is, well, first and foremost, it's okay to feel what you're feeling. I've spoken with students who are anxious or really afraid or angry and disappointed, and it's okay to feel those feelings. I would say for students who are especially struggling with what's happening right now, this idea of like a new normal, um, to pay attention to what they're feeling, to acknowledge and try to understand, like, what is it that I'm feeling right now, and what can help me move out of this space. So I know, like, for students who are struggling with anxiety and fear right now, what is it that's making them afraid, and what's going to help them move out of a space of fear and into one of learning and growth. This idea of a new normal, I think it takes time to adjust to it, and
Mm-hmm.
there's certainly a lot we can learn from it.
Right. Yeah. So, just to piggyback a little bit off of what you just said in regards to feelings, how would you say that it would be appropriate for some students to express those feelings through a specific outlet, like taking up a new recipe or listening to music or doing something proactive like that?
Yeah, of course. Those are definitely ways to handle our feelings. It sounds like you're describing like new hobbies, or taking our energy, or whatever we are feeling, and kind of putting it into something. So whether it is picking up like cooking, or I know for like some students who I've spoken to, some kind of like art project, something with their hands, some kind of crafting. It is. I would definitely encourage anything that is an adaptive way to handle and to manage what you're feeling.
So I know there are a lot of students like myself who are on the more introverted side. So, being that we are no longer interacting with our peers, how would you say is the best way to transition into becoming more social while being at home?
And is this so we're talking about like all students right now, or
Hmm.
specifically seniors, just all students?
All students, yeah.
All students. You know what? I think it's definitely an important question. This idea that we're kind of getting used to being alone and being isolated. And what I hear you asking is like ways that we maintain our social lives, like how
Right.
to remain connected. Um, I think, first of all, I think it's really important to remain connected. I think it's easy to feel isolated right now. And, with some students that I've spoken to, it almost feels like work to kind of reach out and see what's going on with other people, with your friends and peers. Um, I would say any way that you are maintaining your social connections before, with the exception of going out and seeing your friends, to continue doing that. It's so important to be connected during this time. And
Yeah.
if it's one friend, or it's and even one friend, it's important just to know that you're not alone and someone else is kind of experiencing this with you.
Right. That's so true. So, eventually, we like to think that we'd be getting back to a pre corona life. So, what would be some things that we should look out for when we first enter school again?
So, no, I think a lot of that question has to do with like routines and how are we going to establish our routines again. It makes me think, like, a way of comparing this is sort of like summer break, and how students have their own schedules during summer. Students are going to sleep really late and waking up really late. And I think, like, similar to that, like when we do return to school, kind of, I would say, just being aware of what routines we used to have and what are some small ways of kind of um, restart those routines.
Right.
And even if it's small steps, then that's important.
Right. So I know that the current situation has taken a toll on the lives of students as well as teachers. So how has the current situation affected you? Like, is your lifestyle any differently? Are there certain aspects that you are doing now that you weren't previously doing? How have you adjusted to this whole new setting?
Yeah. No, I think it's a great question because it's hard to imagine life not being different with everything going on. And like the students at Spellman, like I've also had to kind of change and adjust to a new normal. I would say the biggest one is not being like you guys, not being in school.
Right.
And I know, like at least for my work, I've been working with students on the phone, so it's definitely an adjustment. And work, my work feels very different than it used to.
Right. I could only imagine. So I know that during this period of isolation and staying at home, it's hard for students to find someone to reach out and talk to. So what resources would you suggest they take advantage of if they need to talk to someone to express how they're feeling or let off any steam?
Yeah, definitely a good point. And I would encourage students to, like I said before, to connect with their peers, with their family, with someone they trust, whether it's a coach or even a teacher. I am going to encourage students to reach out to guidance. Your guidance department is still there. Your guidance counselors are there, and they are more than willing to support you in all of this. To reach out and connect. I do know that there is a guidance like coping page, coping skills page
Oh,
on Google Classroom, and there are also guidance pages per grade where guidance counselors have been posting information, everything from like academics to ways to cope and manage with what's happening right now. So I would encourage students to definitely reach out, to not do this alone.
thanks. That's some really good advice there. So that wraps up the end of our interview. I would like to thank you so much, Ms. Capozzi, for taking the time out of your day to sit down and convey your message to the students that, there is someone always out there for them and there's always an outlet to express how they're feeling. So again, thank you.
Thank you, and yeah, I look forward to seeing Spellman students again. And like I said, reach out for help, whether it's me or your guidance counselor. It's important to reach out for help right now. So thank you.
Thank you. Back to you, David and Anna.
Thanks, Alex. I'll tell you one thing that's difficult: keeping from doing too much as this weather gets warmer. Wondering what it's going to be like this weekend?
Christina Recalde is here with the answer in your weekend weather forecast. Hey, Christina.
Hey pilots, I'm back in my backyard to bring you this weekend's weather forecast. The past week has been a strange one for us as we've seen sunny warmer days mixed with rainy, colder ones, and it gets a little weirder this evening as we see a new band of clouds moving in. For us in the Bronx, it will just be rain, but for those who live in Westchester, they may see some snow. Can you imagine snow in May? Well, that brings us to this weekend's weather forecast. Today will be partly cloudy, leading to shower this evening. The high will be 55. The clouds continue tomorrow as the temperature drops to around 47. Sunday warms up to 56 degrees. Make sure you don't let the warmer temperature fool you in this roller coaster of temperatures. Fly high, pilots.
Thanks, Justina. And that's going to do it for another episode of The Morning Flight. Thanks for watching.
Make sure to book your flight for next week's show, an 80s themed episode that will include Career Month interviews with 2 members from class of 86.
Till then, I'm Anna Richardson.
And I'm David Swolls. Fly high, pilots. All right. All right. I had to burp. Okay. 3, 2, 1.
Career Day continues with an interview with the class of 2020, Nicholas Mancini. Big smile. Big smile, baby.
3, 2, 1. So, Anna, how's everything going with you?
Pretty good. You know, still miss being in school and miss being in the studio. How about you, David? Oh my god. Are you kidding me, David? David?
Did I break up again?
Yes!
Jesus.
Okay.
3, 2, 1. So, Anna, how are you doing? How are things going?
I'm so sorry, my phone dinged.
Oh, jeez.
Sorry.
Do not disturb. Click the moon. My light. There we go. Okay.
David.
3, 2, 1. Just a quick reminder.
No, time. You froze. Like, you completely froze. We're not gonna get this done by 6:30.
Yeah, no. Okay.
You completely froze. Go now. You're good now. Go.
Okay, cool. All right, 3, 2, 1.
We continue our Career Day Month series of interviews with Mr. Nisser. That's what I'm saying. Mr. Nisser. Okay. Sorry. We now continue. Oh, wait, I forgot to get that. 3, 2, 1. We now continue our Career Day. Sorry, I got this this time. 3, 2, 1. He sits down with CS1's Karla Joseph to talk about his time here at Spellman and how he became to his success. How he became to his success. I hate English. Biscuits.
We've got a bunch of birthday shoutouts this week. First wish, my lord, and how to deal with school life when we finally do go back.
You want to redo it?
Yeah, I'm gonna redo it.
Okay, so I flipped off. Ready, David? Oh my god, don't tell me you froze.
Yep.
Okay. 3, 2, 1.